All right, I'm going to start covering the rock with clay, because I won't be able to do anything else till I do. Now I marked where I had these figures placed so that I can easily put them back. Because it's a black board, I couldn't use a magic marker, so I used tape. Okay, I'm going to put this young lady up here. Although she's not a young lady yet, because I haven't made her one. Okay. All right, now I get started on the rock. I put the light real close to the clay, which has also made it very soft, so I can just spatula it on. Turned on the heat in here to get it all warmed up. Yeah, I've gone through the soft clay pretty quick. And when I start having to put it on by hand, it's going to be a lot harder. I put him back on just to see what it would look like. And I think you can see how this works out. I think it's going to be I don't like anything that has a big lump in it. First of all, that takes a lot of bronze to make that rock. It'll be easy to cast, but it's still a big lump. But there's a story connected to that lump. And that's what's going to make the piece interesting. That's the only reason I'm continuing to work on this, is because I can see in my head how this is going to look when it's done. Well, somewhat. I got the light close to the clay. It's a 100-watt bulb inside the swing arm lamp. And I'm going to let that heat up a little bit so I can start using the spatula again, because it covers the rock quickly with a spatula. And I don't want to spend 10 hours covering this rock. Also, so I have this brush that can put kind of a rock texture into the rock that I'm creating. Let me bring my camera in so you can see what I'm talking about. Well, I can't get any closer than that. I've had to take a break from putting clay on because I ran out of soft clay. This eats up clay real fast. There's just no way about getting around that. And I'm sure there's a geologist out there who's looking at my rock and saying, what the hell kind of rock is that? Yeah, probably true. Anyway, I live about 50 miles north of where a whole mountainside came down during an earthquake in 1959, the Great Yellowstone earthquake. And it buried a bunch of people who are still under that slide because they were under 1,000 feet of rock and soil. And there were big boulders that just came down and just like surfed the whole top of the dirt coming down from the mountain on the one side, and it slammed into the other side. It was a narrow canyon. This side, the mountain slid down and came up on that side. And when it did that, it caused a hurricane of wind from underneath the soil as it slammed against the opposite canyon side. It literally blew cars out from underneath the slide as it was coming down. And I can remember coming up with my family when I was a kid to Yellowstone Park the following summer. And seeing all that fresh disaster, roads that had buckled and cracked, and two homes that had gone down into the lake because the whole lake, Hebgen Lake, tilted. It was like somebody took a bowl and tilted it. And you could see where the shore on the opposite side, the southern side of the lake, lifted up out of the water, and the northern shore went down into the water. And there were two houses that just went right down into the lake. And I can remember walking down to those houses and looking at the damage inside. But there were fences that were compressed, wooden fences that were compressed, and so the boards were wavy like this, and you could see big, huge cracks in the side of the mountain. And there were a lot of detours because they didn't repair the road yet. But we have a local doctor, or had a local doctor, Dr. Losi, who was rushed down there to take care of people because of the rock slide. And there was a campground where a couple was sleeping in a sleeping bag, and a big rock or boulder, kind of like this, came down and just crushed them. They were underneath the boulder. And you could see where the ground had split and raised up about 6 to 8 feet. It was a horrible earthquake, and it caused a lot of damage throughout Yellowstone Park. Caused some of the geysers to geyse a lot. I don't know how else to say it. Anyway, I got off on I'm sorry, I'm yakking now. So I'm sure some geologist looking at this rock and saying, that don't look like any rock I know. But I'm doing my best. See how easy I am to get off subject? Look, I'm 79 years old. I got a lot of stories. Lived a life in the Pacific for the first 10 years of my life, 11 years. Hawaii, Guam. Lived in Rhode Island for 5 years. Tennessee, Iowa. I've lived everywhere. I've seen things. I've seen huge bombers, propeller bombers, strategic bombers with 6 engines on the wings, and the engines were facing backwards, and propellers pushed the plane, and it would just lumber across the sky, and the sound was, I can remember the sound, and it's hard to describe because there's nothing in the world that makes that sound today. Huge, lumbering, strategic Air Force bomber in the 1950s, mid-50s. And you got to realize we didn't get into jets until the 1940s. And I can remember flying on some of the first jet airliners. But we flew on going to Guam, I think we were flying back from Guam. We spent 14 days on a ship going to Guam. My family, my mom, myself, my brother, and my sister, going out to Guam on a old Navy ship, the USS Barrett, and 14 days at sea. I learned to walk on a ship during that time when I was a kid. I didn't eat much because we were always sick. But we flew back from Guam to San Francisco on a 4-prop DC-9 looking plane. The sound of the engines constantly for hours upon hours upon hours, flying across the Pacific Ocean over monstrous clouds, landing in Hawaii for just a few minutes and then going on to San Francisco. Boxed lunches. We were served with fried chicken. It was such good chicken. But the sound of the props for the hours upon hours. Well, anyway, getting off on a tangent here. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I got the clay soft enough. Now I just got to get it from the clay pot to the rock. This spatula is giving some nice striations in the rock too, which is one of the things I was worried about, is making it look like a rock. And I think that looks pretty much like a rock that broke off, and over the eons the rock has been worn away a little bit where it broke. And yeah, I think it's gonna be okay. Yeah, I changed his arm position. I want him grabbing onto this rock. His hand will be reversed, like he's holding on to the rock. I won't be able to tell you how that's going to look until I sculpt it. But I'm hoping I can leave him here and they can make a casting of him with the rock. But I don't know. I may have to make this figure so I can move it away from the sculpture. I don't want to have to do that because that gets complicated. The rock is close to being done. I'm just run out of clay. I'm going to have to cut some more, or I have to get this clay really soft so I can finish this rock on this side. It won't take long, but I'm going to have to do it Monday, because right now I'm running out of time. It took me a long time to get this to this point. I'm happy the way it looks. I'm going to have the warrior playing the flute sitting up here on the rock. Like I said yesterday, if I have him down here, it'd be just too close to the young lady. All right. Well, I hope you don't mind my stories today. And I got a ton of them. Anyway, have a great weekend. I've got to go to the medical clinic tomorrow in Bozeman and at the hospital. And it's every 4 weeks I got to go up there. So can't believe all the drugs I'm taking right now because of my heart attack. And they're constantly monitoring the effect those drugs are having on me, because the drugs are powerful drugs to keep my heart pumping and to keep the platelets that fill up your arteries, to keep them from building up. You have to take drugs that thin your blood, and that causes problems. Nothing's easy when you have a heart attack. I don't worry about it. It's funny, but I haven't worried about having another heart attack at all. I don't even actually worry about dying. If my time comes, my time comes. Anyway, I'm not going to be talking about dying. I'm going to get busy on this tomorrow, on Monday. All right, everybody, have a great weekend, and I hope you didn't mind my stories. I have lived an interesting life and lived in some very interesting places. All right, good night, everybody. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. It really would help me. Also, check out the link below this video. It will take you to a review of my 9 instructional videos that could be very helpful to you if you're thinking of sculpting. Good night, everybody.